Welcome to Hope in the Face of Cancer, where we share real stories of courageous people in their cancer journey. Today, we are speaking with Diane, Jayme, and Sarah from one of CanCare's corporate partners, Alliant Insurance Services. Alliant has inspired us at CanCare through how they support those facing cancer in their own workplace. We hope you'll be as inspired as we are with what they have built. At CanCare, we believe in the power of partnerships to make a real difference in the lives of those affected by cancer. These partnerships take many forms. Corporate partnerships, companies like Alliant, collaborate with CanCare to provide crucial resources and support to employees facing cancer. These partnerships help us extend our reach in the cancer community through outlets like Employee ResourceGroups. Healthcare partnerships make up the largest partnerships with CanCare. We team up with healthcare providers to offer their patients emotional support as part of the cancer care team. And finally, nonprofit partnerships. By partnering with other nonprofits in the cancer space, we create a united front, sharing knowledge and resources to better serve our community. Through these partnerships, we bring hope, strength, and support to those who need it most. Join us as we explore the remarkable contributions of our partners and the profound impact they have on the cancer journey. Now, let me introduce our guests from our partner, Alliant. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us today for our Hope in the Face of Cancer podcast. I'm so excited about this episode because not only are we going to get to hear a little bit about your own individual cancer connections and stories, but we also get to hear the story of the amazing company that you work with and how it supports cancer survivors and those facing cancer today. So I want to start by just getting to know you all a little bit. So Diane, I'm calling you first. Tell us, what it is that you do with Alliant, but also what is your cancer connection?
Thanks, Darcy. My role is with the local San Jose office. I'm the office manager. I've been with Alliant for about 9 years. And my cancer connection is my mother-in-law and my mother have both experienced cancer in the past 5 years. So being part of the ARMS ERG, it's been very helpful to me, supportive to me to have a community to reach out to.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And we'll learn more for our audience. We'll learn more about the ARMS ERG here momentarily. But Sarah, let's turn to you now. Tell us what you do at Alliant, but also your cancer connection.
Thanks, Darcy. I've been at Alliant Insurance now for almost 6 years, and my role is account manager, which means I work directly with Alliance Insured, specifically in the real estate niche. And my connection to cancer is I am a lung cancer survivor, a year and a half now. So it has been quite a journey.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we look forward to hearing more about your story today. And last but not least, Jayme. So tell us your role with Alliant and also your cancer connection.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Darcy.
Yes, our pleasure.
Okay, so I've been with Alliant. September will be 20 years for me.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a wonderful company. I am a training specialist lead here at Alliant in our professional development department. So absolutely love what I do. I was an account manager like Sarah for many years here at Alliant up until just this year will be 5 years I've been on this team. So yeah, absolutely love the training role that I have. And my journey has been a little bit different. So I've not been diagnosed with cancer, but I have been diagnosed about, it's been about 10 years with the BRCA2 gene, which is a gene that is predominantly saying that we would eventually have ovarian and or breast cancer, which runs rampant in my family, unfortunately. So yes, I was able to get tested about 10 years ago because of that, and was able to have prophylactic surgeries to mitigate that risk for me.
Very courageous decision, for sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about Alliant, and would love to hear more of your own individual stories as we, talk here today. CanCare first learned of Alliant a couple of years ago and was just really amazed at what the company has done to support the cancer community within its own family. So, Diane, tell us a little bit more about kind of the origins, of the ERG, the Employee Resource Group that you mentioned earlier, ARMS. Just how did all this kind of come to be?
Mm-hmm. Well, Alliant's very large company, and we're growing every year.
Mm-hmm.
Jayme and Sarah can attest to that rapidly. So we have a lot of employees, and everyone has, their story.
Mm-hmm.
And our leadership, our Chief Administrative Officer in particular, Diana Keel, she's in a role that kind of brings employees together. And we formed, I want to say about 6 years ago, Jayme, maybe correct me on that, but we formed our very first Employee Resource Group back then. And we focused on cancer, supporting people with cancer, because our leadership was hearing so much about team members either directly or indirectly impacted by cancer, extended, immediate, children, and themselves. And so that's where we found a focus to launch our first ERG. And now we have a total of 8 ERGs. But ARMS is really special in that it is the original and largest ERG. And
Wow.
it just seems to have a group of caring hearts.
And so, Jayme, I mean, you and Diane were really part of the origin story of this ARMS ERG. And first of all, tell us what ARMS stands for, and then tell us a little bit about your perspective of kind of what the group does and what y'all are able to do for your employee base.
Yeah, so ARMS is awareness, resources, mentorship, and support. And Diane's right. It was about 5 years ago that I came on the team, and when it was starting. So yeah, about 5 years ago, and it was the first one, the first of now 8 ERGs. So ARMS has been everything that encompasses our colleagues that are either diagnosed, so they have a cancer diagnosis, or a loved one does, or they're a caregiver like Diane. That's part of her story. So again, what we do is come alongside them and meet them where they're at, and really truly wrap our arms around them in meeting them where they are at this time with either, like I said, their diagnosis or a loved one's diagnosis. So ARMS will have things like meetings. They do about like every other month. They'll have like a meeting about like awareness or whatever the case may be. We've actually had CanCare join us a couple times and talk about the program, about the volunteers and stuff, and how we could how CanCare can support Alliant colleagues. And also just all different things that they do. They have things like, if there's a new colleague that has been diagnosed, they'll have like a virtual support group where we will come on and support them and get to know like what's going on with them and how we can support them. We do things like meal trains and these like nice gift packages that we send, again meeting them where with what they need, what the needs are, whether it be, like I said, meal trains, food, things like that. There's a whole like little gift basket.
Right, it's called our care basket,
Care
Jayme.
basket. Thank you. Yes,
And we
Diane
also
used
have
to
a book club to
book club.
educate,
Oh, that
and a
sounds fun.
quarterly newsletter, all sending out information and resources.
We do, and we
Bring
also
awareness, right?
yes, and we have we have our company's intranet. So the employees of Alliant can go on there and see how to different resources. So not only do we actually have recorded podcasts of fellow colleagues that have either that have been diagnosed and things like that that they can listen to just in case they want to reach out to one of us. But they can also go on there and click on things like we have CanCare on there, for example, and all they do is click on it. It takes them right to the CanCare site. So it'll say something like, click here to learn more about CanCare and how we could how somebody could come alongside and they could be matched with a volunteer. So different things like that. There's prayer requests on there where somebody can come on and click on that, and it goes to a secured inbox and is picked up. So they're prayed on and prayed over. So all different kinds of resources like that about different cancers. It's very well organized, like with different types of cancers that they can click on. They'll highlight every month, maybe like if there's a cancer awareness going on that month, different philanthropy events going on that anybody can participate in, things like that.
It's truly incredible. I mean, when we first learned what it is that Alliant had done around its cancer community, I've really never seen another company go to the extent that you have and really embracing those in your workforce that are facing cancer, and just the thoughtfulness that you've had in thinking of all the different things that could support them. So I'm curious, any particular testimony, and you don't share their name, but comes to mind about, just the impact that you all have been able to have on someone going through their cancer journey. And it's got to be pretty incredible.
It brings to mind Jason, who recently passed. He was one of our younger colleagues. He was only 47, and his diagnosis was in February. He passed in April, so it was very quick. He worked with a large team, about 77 people, and we were all able to pull together, rally with his leadership, his managers, his the folks that reported into him, and he worked alongside. And all of them, it's deeply difficult thing to go through, to watch somebody lose somebody so quickly. And so having the ERG in place to do virtual support, pull together the team, and how can we help? What can we do? And a lot of times it's the talking and the listening and the sharing and the remembering good times. And it's just that was a tough one. But having a partner like CanCare helps us, because that was one of the key challenges we had when we were launching the ERG, is getting the word out to team members. You can send an email and word of mouth, but it's difficult. People are focused on their day-to-day, and it's only when something traumatic or difficult
when it
comes
hits close to
along.
home.
And so having CanCare being highlighted, that drew a lot of members to ARMS, as an additional resource. And they're like, oh, wow, they have, the prayer resource and emotional support. And so it was drawing, like Sarah, that's part of her story. It drew her to us.
In the beginning, did you find that people might have been reticent to share, that they, had a cancer story? And did that maybe change over time as, the employee base kind of saw people stepping up and saying, look, I'm a survivor? Or did you notice any change like that?
We have seen, the gamut of transparency. Some folks like Jason and his family, very transparent about the type of cancer he had, what he was going through, day-to-day communication with his family, whereas others are very private. They want to join the group, but they're more hesitant to be that open. So it runs the gamut, and we respect all. We have to, right? it's everybody's comfort level.
Well, I think it was really incredible, the example that you gave about really surrounding that particular employee during their cancer journey, but also their team, because you all kind of stepped into whatever the need was. And in that moment, we just lost a team member. So it was also supporting those, left behind in that situation. So I think that really beautiful. And Sarah, I want to talk a little bit about your story, because your cancer journey was relatively recent. I mean, it was only, in the last 18 months, 2 years. Tell us a little bit more about your journey, your diagnosis, and kind of what it was like to walk through cancer, and ultimately kind of how you found CanCare and the RMZRG, and just the whole journey that you've taken.
Yes. So when I was diagnosed with lung cancer, it was, I think, as it always is, an absolute complete shock. And I was not a smoker. I had, never grown up in a household of smokers. So it was really just something that was just a complete surprise. But the journey was amazing. And I always say the cancer community is a community you never want to be part of, but once you are, you meet the most amazing, wonderful, kind-hearted people, whether it's friends who reach out or the care team at the hospital, the nurses, the technicians. They're so ready to step up and embrace you on your journey. And I think I took that with me through my recovery. And Diane just happened to reach out to a group at Alliant and say that CanCare was looking for volunteers. And I thought, wow, this would really be my opportunity, to finally give back some of the love that I received during the whole journey. And I reached out, and the training that was provided by CanCare was really just first class. It was a whole weekend, and it was really immersive. And we had the opportunity to speak with therapists and go through possible scenarios. So the first client I received, it was just, I was so nervous, but I didn't realize until I actually got on the phone with her how prepared I was. And from that moment on, I just wanted to be involved. CanCare is such a phenomenal organization, and I've been so honored to be part of the cancer journey with so many people now. And I had 2 clients now that are cancer-free. Another
That's wonderful.
who's already trying to become a CanCare volunteer. So it's been such an amazing journey filled with brave, determined, compassionate people.
Well, and you're a brave, determined, compassionate person. So we're so thrilled to have you as part of our family. Thank you for giving back in the way that you have. And Diane, you too have joined the CanCare family once you kind of got to know us, and your story's a little different. You're a caregiver volunteer. So tell us about that journey for you. I mean, what was maybe that training journey? It was as a different lens going through it all as a caregiver than a survivor, and just kind of what's that been like, kind of having clients to serve and that experience?
Right. And I did, as I mentioned earlier, join because having caregive to my mother, or be a caregiver to my mother and to my mother-in-law, who came out here specifically from another country to have treatment.
Wow.
Having joined CanCare 3 years ago as a caregiver volunteer to help other, primarily women, that's who I've been matched up with. It's been really a great experience. And, some stick for the long haul. I'm still communicating with a couple of ladies that I joined from the start. And others have either lost their mothers or sisters in some cases, and they would like to drop off. So, or end their support, which is their choice. But the key thing for me is the training that CanCare provides. it really helped me beyond just being a caregiver volunteer. It helped me in my personal life, in my marriage. It's with my friends, with my teammates. It really changed the tone for me that I can help others by being there with my experience and listening.
Yes.
And so I highly recommend the training that CanCare provides to others. And I will continue to share that because it's so valuable. If you want to be of service to others, this training is such a good foundation.
Well, I think it's so much about meeting that client, meeting that person where they are, because you mentioned, there are some relationships you've had of your clients that have gone on for a long time. Some, they need you for maybe a specific purpose or a specific period of time, but it's all about meeting them where they are and attending to their needs. And it's a very selfless act, being a volunteer. So thank you so much for that and for all that you give.
I want to add, Darcy, though, it isn't selfless. I mean,
you get so much from it, right?
From it, being a part, like Sarah said, of this community, even though you don't want to be, it being there to help each other. I've gotten so much back from my clients. I cannot tell you emotionally. It's been really lovely.
Yeah, I think that's a consistent message we hear from our volunteers. They're like, I don't know if I'm helping them more or they're helping me more, or, because we never stop growing. We never stop learning. And Jayme, your relationship with CanCare is a little different and you're engaged in a different way. Tell us a little bit about what drew you in and kind of how you're serving and maybe how you've also brought that back in to Alliant.
Yeah. So I had heard about this prayer and praise team that CanCare, a group of CanCare volunteers conduct every Wednesday, every week. And so they come together and they start out with a nice opening, whether it be a worship song or devotion, and then they have a whole list of prayers that have been submitted to CanCare. There's and not just to CanCare, but like to me, I mentioned ARMS has a button on their page where somebody can click even from here, from Alliant, and that I have about 4 right now, people that have submitted. And so we follow their journey and we pray for them. So I add them to that list. So a whole list of individuals that we're praying for. So we come together on Wednesday and we're lifting up these names and we're each praying for them. And then we have a nice closing and we just check and make sure there's no updates. I'm following up with the individuals that I've requested prayer for. I always try to do that maybe like every 3 weeks. I don't want to bother too much, but just ask for an update and provide that. And so we just come together and we come and we pray over these individuals. And it's such a wonderful experience. And, there are losses in life and things happen. So we do experience that together, but we also share so many praises, praise reports, and people that we've been praying for. And not everybody it's not all cancer. I've heard things from, there was a little girl that we prayed for years, and unfortunately she did pass recently, but I mean, we just took this family and not just her, but her story affected her family and that weren't believers and just were, down and out because of what she was going through. But like this little girl affected so many in such a positive way with her story. And, people that were in airplane crashes that small crashes that were like small little planes that were hurt really bad. We've prayed for all kinds of people. So it's just such a blessing to be able to be a part of that and to come together with these amazing prayer warriors that are all about just lifting people up and taking that time. So I'm absolutely blessed to be a part of it. And I think Sarah, have you been able to join? I know she was just recently added, wanted to join that team. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure
have
if she
not
had.
joined yet, but I really can attest to the fact that I think the prayer and the faith piece of it is so important. And with some of my clients, I've had them say how they feel so disconnected from faith, and it's really for reasons that, you know, they shouldn't feel unattached from their faith and from the Lord. And I've asked if they would like me to say a prayer with them, and several of them have just been so appreciative of that connection. And to be able to kind of assist them with that is just, it really is such an honor.
Absolutely. Well, cancer, anyone facing cancer, whether it's directly with a diagnosis or as a caregiver, I mean, you go through, there's a physical journey, an emotional journey, a spiritual journey, and there's so many facets of it. And so to be able to come around people with whatever it is that they need at that moment is so, so critical. I'm curious, you all have had to have learned a lot in the years, really working with this ERG. You didn't have a model, you kind of created something out of nothing and have learned. And I know there are people listening to us today who might be interested in taking that idea back into their company. So I'm curious as to, Diane and Jayme, from your perspectives, having been a part of the formation and then kind of watching it grow, what advice you might have. And then Sarah, just from a survivor standpoint, what advice you might have to someone who's considering putting together some kind of support within their workplace for cancer survivors and cancer patients.
Right. So from my perspective, it's so important to have your leadership buy-in, right?
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that can help us move the needle. And I think Alliant is so open in that way that they're willing to hear what the younger generation coming into the workforce wants. They want this, where's my people? Where's my tribe? They want that connection. They want to find their group. So knowing that Alliant has now all 8 ERGs is very attractive to the younger workforce, but also for us that are here and existing in California and New York and Texas, all split up, that connectivity
kind of brings you together.
and it helps with the business side of things, because you're no longer working with somebody that you're just transacting business, but you find that personal connection with them, and it strengthens your ability to work together better. So there's that underlying. I can't see companies not considering doing ERGs. It's not about race or about, me. It's opening the doors to get a better understanding. Jayme just started the spiritual ERG, and that is embracing all religions. So it's helping us learn, right? And grow. How do I work with Sarah, who is a cancer survivor, and not offend her or, or support her? So these
Be
are
more
really important.
empathetic.
The tools that the ERGs provide are just so valuable. The resources, the tools,
Well, I think
I'm really
you hit on
grateful.
something too about generations. This younger generation too, I think, is seeking so much more of a well-rounded experience when they're looking for the workplace that they want to fit in. They want to know that they're serving more, than just the corporate mission, that they're serving a bigger mission. And so I think that's very attractive. Jayme, what's your perspective on, what have you learned, and what advice might you have for someone?
Well, something really, like Diane was saying, how it's so good for the company itself and for the employees. Like, Literally, like just recently this month, we found out that Alliant was named one of America's best employers
Oh,
for
that's
diversity
awesome.
by Forbes. Yeah. So, I mean, that's huge. You're talking,
Yes.
that's part of that is because of our continued success in our ERGs and the promotion of DEI across our industry. So, we are embracing all of that, the different cultures and every, we're talking about every voice be heard. And we have, like we've said, 8 ERGs right now, and they're all different, everything from veterans to LGBTQ. Um, this arms, we have different cultures, Asian, what is it, AAPI,
Right.
Mosaics,
Mosaic.
Latinos, and now we have Friends in Faith, which is a faith-based, interfaith-based. So we welcome all faiths, and we're learning about all of this. And another thing, like Diane mentioned, that's really important is we are all learning together, not only about each other and celebrating each other and all of the differences that come with, different cultures and beliefs and things like that, but also managers, we're starting to learn about how, as a manager, um, to support and understand team members that have, say, different faiths. So one thing we just did last month is we heard from somebody of a specific Jewish faith, and he prays at certain times. He eats, in 2 different kitchens he has in his house. So like what was happening there was, like, there was times he wasn't available to be on calls and stuff, and his manager didn't understand, like maybe thought that he was, just not there, not coming on, not being present. But it was that he was praying at certain times, or like if they have a team event and he can't eat the food, maybe they're ordering lunch for everybody to come in, but like Jacob only eats certain foods. So they need to be mindful of that when they are coming together. So it's really important. We are going to start opening up the space to neurodiversity. We've been having a couple of speakers on that, and I know that Alliant's going to be bringing on, more of that and staffing more, and they'll be coming alongside us, train individuals on how to work with them, and we don't think about those things. We see people
That's right.
just and don't realize some people might be, autistic and on different spectrums and things like that, and they're not going to understand everything that we do. So all of that, with all of that said, it's so important, especially in this day and age, to really support and have DEI in our companies. We need to all feel like we belong and that we have a voice. So it's so important, and I am so grateful that Alliant has brought this space into the company, and that we all get to celebrate each other and not feel like we don't belong here.
Yeah, that's tremendous.
Totally.
Sarah, what are your thoughts? I mean, especially, as a cancer survivor yourself, and having been supported by the company, I mean, what would you say to someone kind of looking at starting, or maybe just what would you say to them about how they can support the people going through cancer in their employees?
I think Diane hit the nail on the head when she said you really need to find your tribe, and that is so crucial to your mental health while you're going through the cancer journey. And ERGs really provide that tribe for you. I think, when you're diagnosed with cancer, your first thought is not only how will it affect my well-being and that of my family, but you wonder, how will I continue to work? How will I continue to maintain my productivity when I'm in the midst of this, horrible journey? And the family is such a wonderful network of support, but especially if no one's really dealt with cancer before, you almost really need that touch, that connection with someone who's been there before, who's gone that same path, that truly understands the mental hardships, the physical hardships, and especially having an ERG where you're not only combining those folks that have had cancer, but they're also working, they're still maintaining their productivity, they're still figuring out ways to manage their treatments, to manage their doctor's appointments, to manage the whole, all the, all these things that go along with the cancer journey, but they're still working. So that's just so crucial to the whole big picture of cancer. So to have an employee resource group that truly is readily available to step in and say, let me help you, let me show you how you can succeed on this journey is just so critical.
Absolutely. No, I applaud you guys for what you've done and what you've built. And I think it will be a model for so many more. As we wrap up here today, I lastly really just want to ask you guys about the relationship with CanCare. And you guys found us, and I'm so grateful that you did. I would love to hear your perspective, one on why, why did you reach out to have CanCare be a part of your family and be a part of this journey? And then as others are listening, maybe from other corporate environments, what would you say about the value of having someone like CanCare as a part of your team?
I want to add, I know manager training is slowly launching for us on a broad spectrum, but specifically for employees that have cancer, it's so important to have a partner like CanCare because you have the long experience, the training. I again can't stress how valuable the training is, and the knowledge. So us trying to reinvent the wheel behind all that, it wouldn't be as successful if we didn't have a partner like CanCare. So, and it's always immediate, right, Jayme and Sarah? We find out, and then we're having to engage resources, and having CanCare right there for our team members is just can't stress enough the importance. So for companies that want to start ERGs, enlist CanCare as your partner, and any other resource that's willing. We've been lucky enough to have CanCare steadily come back. Chris comes and speaks to our committee, which is now up to, I think, 90 or 100 committee team members, which
that's incredible.
Is still a drop considering how large Alliant is, but Chris can speak to our team members, our company, and shares a wealth of knowledge, things that I know I've learned so much.
And that's 90, 90 to 100 people who have been impacted by cancer in some way and who are just touching innumerable lives. So just think about the ripple effect that, because you talked about it's not very big. Well, look at the ripple effect of 90 to 100 people who are caring for those who are facing cancer every day and providing hope to them. That's incredible. Jayme, anything else that you would share?
So how we found CanCare was we were looking specifically for an organization that that not only could we support, but also support us in learning, in helping with some kind of resource for our colleagues. Like we said, it is a resource that we have on the ERG page that anybody from anywhere in the United States, there's like 9,000, I think we're up to now ish, can go and say, I have this, I'm a caretaker and I'm struggling, I don't know what to do, or I have this cancer diagnosis now, and this is a CanCare can come alongside them, and they have come alongside our colleagues and supported them. They've been matched with a volunteer that has been able to help them through it, and out of that has been wonderful. I I also will, when I have somebody ask for a prayer request through that page and it comes to the inbox, I always offer up CanCare because I think it's so important
Thank you.
to have somebody come alongside them that has shared in this experience. So, CanCare matches them specifically with somebody that either had the diagnosis, has it, or a caretaker that is that was, like Diane, that was also or is a caretaker right now, just to come alongside and support them. So it's so important. It's such an important partnership for us to have CanCare. Like I said, we've even had some employees. I remember one in particular. She's actually retired now, but she had a diagnosis of breast cancer. She had just lost her husband, so she had so much loss and struggle going on, and she was able to find this ERG right before, like, she was gonna leave. She was gonna leave the company. She was like at her, wit's end. She was going through all of her treatments and everything. And she shared with us that she was like, that having this ERG was able to help her so much that she felt like a sense of belonging. And she actually ended up being like one of the leads eventually. Like I said, now she's retired. We walked, some of us, together with her in a breast cancer walk. She was involved with CanCare as well. So it's seen so many wonderful testimonies come out of our partnership with CanCare.
Well, we're so blessed by the partnership, and we thank you guys for reaching out and for allowing us to be a part of your family, and just encourage anyone who may be listening today to just get inspiration from what all you did and the community that you've built inside your company and the incredible blessings that you've been able to pour out on so many people because of that. So I thank you each for what you're doing. Thank you for allowing us to walk alongside of you and learn from you. And I hope that your words today have been an inspiration to someone listening, that they too could take just that nugget and take it back to their workplace and start something that would have so much impact. So thank you all for being with us today, and we look forward to a continued journey with you.
Yes, thank you,
Darcy.
Darcy.
Thank you so much, Darcy. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Hope in the Face of Cancer, a survivor by your side. If you or someone you know is facing cancer or is supporting a loved one through their journey, we invite you to share this podcast. Thank you for your support in our efforts in the cancer community. No one should face cancer alone.